Didn't take them long. The liberal media now launching their first jabs at the newly minted House Speaker, Mike Johnson. But many of those attacks appear to center on his Christian faith. They are particularly perturbed by that. Just listen to this shocking comparison from Bill Maher.
And I was reading about this horrible shooting in Maine.
Yeah.
And I heard, we don't know much about the guy yet, but apparently he heard voices. And I thought, is he that different than Mike Johnson? Really? I mean, degree, yes, but it's thinner than you think.
Unbelievable. Now, you'd expect that from Bill Maher, but it's a little more surprising when the former White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, says this.
The Bible doesn't just inform his worldview, it is his worldview. In fact, during his first speech in his new job, Johnson suggested that his election as Speaker was an act of God. Talk about a bit of a humble brag there. His views on policy are essentially what you'd expect from a religious fundamentalist. They're more divisive than they are divine.
A religious fundamentalist. Tell us how you really feel. I got the chance to sit down with Speaker Mike Johnson for a one-on-one interview at the Capitol. We talked about these attacks on his faith, the political divides within America, and the House aid package for Israel. Here's what he had to say. I come from a Christian worldview. I was very vocal about that as White House press secretary. And perhaps I shouldn't have been surprised, but media wasn't always so friendly to someone with a Judeo-Christian worldview. And in your case, some of the things that have been said, Politico interviewed a historian about your worldview, and this historian said you're a Christian nationalist. It comes from that of Christian supremacy. But what I was really surprised by is Jen Psaki, a White House press secretary herself, typically would be measured with her words, I would think. But in this case, she went so far as to call you a Christian fundamentalist. What do you think when you hear that?
Look, there are entire industries that are built to take down public leaders, effective political leaders like me. I'm not surprised by that. I mean, it comes with the territory. It doesn't bother me at all. I just wish they would get to know me. I'm not trying to establish Christianity as the national religion or something. That's not what this is about at all. If you truly believe in the Bible's commands and you seek to follow those, it is impossible to be a hateful person, because the greatest command in the Bible is that you love God with everything you have and you love your neighbor as yourself. I want to highlight, and this is truly outrageous, some of these things that have been said, but I'm just very curious about, to your point, a faith that is based on love, that is Jesus Christ, that was what he lived for, can be characterized in such a way. The Daily Beast called you a Christo-fascist. That is the first I've ever heard that term. Yeah, well.
They said you're the most extreme example of a dangerously empowered religious fanatic, but here's the line that really stood out to me. They go on to say that your desire to institutionalize your faith is the way of the Taliban and the mullahs in Iran. And then Bill Maher, who we know is not a similar worldview as ours, he went so far as to bring up the main shooter. And he said, we don't know much about the guy yet, but apparently he heard voices. And I thought, is he different than Mike Johnson? I mean, degree, yes, but it's thinner than you'd think. What is it like to be compared to the mullahs of Iran, the Taliban, and the main shooter?
It's just disgusting. I mean, that is absurd. Of course, our religion is based on love and acceptance. So to compare that worldview with the Taliban, who seek to destroy their enemies, or with, some deranged shooter who murders people, is absolutely outrageous. And I think everyone who follows and believes in a Judeo-Christian worldview should be just terribly offended by that. I'm okay. I'll take the arrows. I understand it comes with leadership, and when you step into the fray, that's what you take. But what really hurts me is that it really is a statement about everyone who believes in this, that the country was built upon. Our Judeo-Christian foundation is the heritage of our country.
How do we get to this place, get out of this place rather, where people are just viewing the other side as the enemy?
I mean, look, our enemy is like Hamas and terrorists and tyrants who want to do great harm to our country. Someone who's on the other side of the aisle is a fellow elected representative of the greatest deliberative body in the world, and they should be treated as such. And even if they have crazy ideas sometimes, part of the process is that I will be willing to engage with them in a dialogue to forge consensus that will move the ball forward for the most people.
Now let's talk about one of those areas of common ground potentially, this Israel aid package, standalone Israel aid. The reporting is that there will be a vote hopefully Thursday. Is that the timeline you're looking at?
I'm hoping Thursday.
And it looked like 14.5 billion is the number that you're looking at. And you suggest that maybe you'll get a bipartisan vote here.
I sure hope so.
Do you have any sense of the number of Democrats who you think might come?
I hope that it's most or all of them. I mean, there's a few people who have philosophical differences on that, and we'll have some intense debates about their opposition to that. But look, this is a matter of good versus evil.
How's it going to be paid for?
We're going to be releasing that here shortly, but my intention and my desire in the first draft of this bill is to take some of the money that has been set aside for the building and bulking up the IRS right now. They have about $67 billion in that fund, and we'll try to take the 14.5 necessary for this immediate and urgent need. We'll deal with the rest of that issue later.
Do you think that will drive away some Democrats in the Senate even, or here in the House?
It may, but my intention is to call Leader Schumer over there and have a very direct and thoughtful conversation about this. I understand their priority is to bulk up the IRS, but I think if you put this to the American people and they weigh the two needs, I think they're going to say standing with Israel and protecting the innocent over there is in our national interest and is a more immediate need than IRS agents.